All right, all right, all right. What is happening? See, a few people have joined us so far. Welcome, one and all. Adele, Legend. What's happening, Johnny? Woo! All right. It is a moist night in the Northeast. That is, as I like to say, a first world problem. I have my air conditioner going. I have a fan on me. I've got nothing to complain about. It's all good. It's just a little humid. No problem. TJ, you too. Humid where you are? Hot, perhaps? It actually isn't that hot here in the Northeast. It's just humid. And I can live with that. I actually haven't left the house all day, so I don't even really know what it's like outside. 100 in Chicago, that's wild. I guess climate change is that liberal hoax we've all heard about, or maybe not. Maybe not. All right, so let's get the party started. For the 5 folks that are in here, let's start tapping that screen. Let TikTok know that we are here and all that stuff. We did leave the house. I had my wedding band cleaned. Oh, that's a good reason to leave the house. So if you left to have your wedding band cleaned, easy for me to say, have your wedding band cleaned. Hi, Amy. Then I'm guessing, let's see, you've probably had that ring at least 10 years. I'm just gonna guess. But let me know. Let me know, TJ. How long have you had that wedding ring? So I was right, 10 years? Your big Riverside church cleaning. Hey, Cynthia from Texas. Hello. Glad to have you back here. Amy, you're not missing out on anything by not having wedding rings. It's mostly hype. The stats aren't good, that's for sure. Oh, yes, Riverside Church. I know it. As a matter of fact, I think my son spoke there once at a rally. Might have been that church. I might be remembering incorrectly. It was a while back. TJ wants to come up. Why not? Let's
So
start
now we need
off.
to talk.
So
All right,
what's
I'm
up,
going on
TJ?
camera. What's up?
How you doing?
What? I'm good. So I took the wedding off, or I took the wedding band off because I was doing stuff in the in the kitchen, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so now that I have it cleaned, I can't, I can't mess with it. But yeah, Riverside Church. So we were the first gay couple to legally marry at Riverside.
Nice. Nice. I was at one of the first weddings once the law changed in New York City. So this had to be 2011, I think. And Mayor Dinkins actually performed the wedding. He was the officiant, and it was wild. Like, the woman I was dating at the time just happened to know this couple, these 2 men, and I remember when they got to the end where Dinkins said, "By the power vested in me in the state of New York," and everyone erupted in a cheer. And I wasn't expecting that, but it made sense immediately. I was like, "Oh yeah, they've never been able to do this." So what a
Yeah.
beautiful moment. It was really like it's one of my fond memories. It was just beautiful to see a whole bunch of people that are finally being treated like humans. And of course now we're regressing, but it was a nice
Ah.
moment. Yeah.
One of the most touching moments I had with the Obama administration was after we got married, we were going to the second inauguration, and I had called Valerie Jarrett's office to pick up our credentials, and I said, "Oh, I said my spouse and I are coming to pick up our credentials." And Miss Jarrett said, "That is not your spouse. Hear me? That is your husband." She was like, "We fought long and hard for that. That is your husband."
Yeah.
And I was taken aback for a minute. I was like, Miss Jarrett just chastised me. And then I was like, Miss Jarrett chastised me. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we are progressing, but we are fighting. Um, I'm a queer minister in American Baptist churches.
Mhm.
I'm in care at Judson in a village. Still have a very strong relationship at Riverside. Did a lot of my internship at the United Nations and my clinical pastoral care at Mount Sinai Hospital. So walking the hallways, being threatened, folks threatened to stab me.
Wow.
Mental
Just wild
illness is
shit.
real.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah, I've spoken about it before online, but like when I was 9 years old, to make a long story short, is when I learned what certain terminology meant. And I was like, and the way it was explained to me, this other 9-year-old was teasing me with words that I had never heard before. And so he was like, "Well, you know the way that you like girls?" I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Some boys like other boys that way." And I was like, "Okay." Like I didn't get what the fuss was about, right? And now I'm 61 and I've never changed my position on that. I'm like, "Okay, so what are we on about? Like what's the problem here?" So you're upset at what makes somebody else's genitals tingle? Like who cares? It doesn't
Like, what's that
affect you.
about?
It absolutely doesn't affect you. I heard one of my favorite things I ever heard was from a comedian. I can't remember who it was exactly. This was a while ago, probably like 10, 15 years ago. He said something to the effect of, "Until two men need me to be in between them while they go at it, I'm not going to care about this."
Some of us may ask.
And I joke also because I have no problem saying I think that man is good looking or that man is beautiful or whatever. And sometimes, some troglodyte will be like, "Oh, are you gay?" And I'm like, "Not so far, but I haven't met Idris Elba, I haven't met Ryan Reynolds. I don't know." Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure, but what difference does it make, honestly? So how long have you been married? What year did you get married?
Since we met in
Hmm.
2007 at a human rights campaign dinner,
Oh,
and then
nice.
married in 2011.
Nice.
And he's been on this long journey. I'm now a doctoral student, so my one black job is to write about this catastrophe.
Mm,
So my next assignment is, I've been like trying to call my professor. Anyway, my next assignment, which she gave me an extension, but she doesn't pick up her phone, which is so frustrating. Anyway, is about TikTok in a ministerial context. So talking about all these
mm,
conversations
yeah.
that happen. I know I'm like so comfortable. I'm all laying down.
No, that's fine, man. Mhm. Come as you are, so as the saying goes, right?
Thank you. Um, um, yeah, ministerial context of TikTok, of all of you all's voices and your opinions, and this prophetic fight that we are having on social media is just as much as important as the marches that your son speaks at.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am remembering it was definitely because I made a video of it a long time ago. I think it was around 2015 or so, but he spoke at the Riverside Church, and it was it had to do with, cultural issues, the movement that was going on back then. And, it was a proud moment for me. He's one of my favorite people. So it was cool to see him because I've been a public speaker since 1988. So it was very cool to
Mm.
see him public speaking.
Did you start in speech team?
No, no. So I sort of incidentally became a public speaker. It was part of a recovery thing. I was in one of the anonymous programs, and when I first went there, this is going back to September of 1987. When I first went there, I was accompanying my girlfriend, who at the time had just come out of detox because she had a severe substance problem. And I would identify myself by saying hi, not I am an ADD, etc. I would say hi, I'm with her, right? And then after sitting there and listening to people's stories for like 3 months, I started thinking to myself, these people are talking about some horrifying shit that they did while they were under the influence. And I did almost all of that shit while I was stone sober. So maybe it's not the substance that's the problem. Maybe being a gigantic asshole was the problem, right? So then I started taking it seriously and I listened and then I started speaking there, right? And in the beginning I was terrible, absolutely, and that's not even like up to debate. I was terrible. I was absolutely terrible in my first few, but then I found my voice eventually. And then, I took it outside of that context and into the other part of the world and did it in business and all that other shit. And then let's see, in the early 90s, I got into coaching. And then in 2020, I got into podcasting. And now I'm hoeing myself out on TikTok and other platforms. you
I
know,
yeah, TikTok is amazing. My account was deleted permanently by TikTok.
yeah,
Well, not
my
permanently.
first one, yeah, same with me. Yeah. And with me, it
Well,
was so goofy. The reason that I got banned the first time was I didn't realize that when people insulted me in the comments that I couldn't insult them back, but worse.
I I I created a video that's still up. But I created a video that has Mr. T in his coffin with the music. Dum dum da dum dum da dum. Totally hilarious. And so evidently somebody didn't think it was hilarious. And TikTok was like, "We're taking you down." And then I wrote, because I live in I physically right now live in Chicago.
hmm
And so I wrote my mayor. I texted my mayor, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then suddenly it was back up 2 days
Oh,
later.
wow. Look at that. Sometimes it's who you know, right?
I'll
That's
try to
cool.
be a good boy now.
Yeah, I've had this account now for like a year and a half, and I have one strike on me, but it's like, whatever, no big deal. Everyone seems to live with strikes, but the key thing is that I'm live 6 days a week now. Well, I have only missed 2 nights so far in the last like few months, and talk about whatever's going on. Like I'm very open to the direction that the conversation goes. Like this wasn't on my agenda, but I'm glad that you popped up because then I get to meet new people and hear different stories, and it's a cool thing. And I've been in sales since 1984, so I've met every type of human being that there is, except maybe the people from Papua New Guinea and Inuits. But other than that, I've met pretty much everybody.
Well, so 2 weeks ago, I did a sermon out of Samuel 8 in Pretoria, South Africa. Well, I was
Okay,
on Zoom. They were physically in Pretoria, South Africa.
gotcha.
Um, I I did not have the miles to go, and the faculty was concerned with my history that I would be allowed back in the country after that
Oh
speech.
wow,
So they said no. They kept begging me not to come. They were like, "Please don't come. Just do it on Zoom." So
right.
Professor Smith kept saying, and um, Samuel 8, that Samuel was an old man and ready to step down. The people wanted a new king. He said, that your new king should be God. The people said, no, we want a physical king. And then God said to Samuel, warn them that if they pick this king, that he will take away everything that they have. He
Mm,
will make their daughters slaves. He will slave their sons. Um, and they did not listen. And God said, let them have their king. And I said, in TJ's version, America wanted a king,
that's right.
but America, despite all of the issues that would come along with choosing this king, they wanted a king to represent their hate. They wanted a king to represent their bigotry. They wanted a king to represent their patriarchy. They wanted a king. And I said, America, you are cursed. And now we have the dismantling of U.S. aid.
Mm-hmm.
We have the big deadly bill that will cause death or unaliving. We have all of these things. And, I went into words I have not seen, words have not been spoken. What the Lord declares of thee. The words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable.
Mm,
Thy sight, O God. And so it's actually on my profile page. So
okay.
if you share it,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
um, and America wanted a king.
Yeah, the problem with America, um, and of course this is only my opinion, is that we allow too many dumb fucks to procreate. And that's why we have 77 million dumb fucks voting for a glorified carnival barker.
Yes.
Anyone from the New York area knew what a piece of garbage this guy always was. Right. And so to us, it was like, oh, you're joking, right? You're not really, just because he had a TV show. Really? That's all it took, you know?
I I have been inside of the police and Secret Service just 6 months ago allowed me to go inside of the Trump Tower
Mm.
and to sing, Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. That old song. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down.
Nice.
You've been building your kingdom all over this land. Oh, Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. And the mothers are gonna pray your kingdom down. All the mothers are gonna pray your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom and all over this land. And the police was like this, and all the cameras were. So somewhere there's a YouTube video and a TikTok video of me singing.
That's wild.
We're gonna take that old slave song
Mm.
that the ancestors used to sing. How relevant, because they were in the fields
Yeah.
praying and singing for the downfall of the master.
Yeah. Cynthia from Texas says you have a nice voice, and I concur.
Thank you, Cynthia.
And we
Hallelujah,
can
man.
welcome a couple of regulars here. We have Danny, one of the most
Hi, Danny.
distinguished gentlemen that you'll ever find in the world, let alone TikTok. Hi, Danny. How you doing?
Good there, Professor. How you doing?
I am excellent. And
Sorry I'm late.
WKRP. Oh, no worries, man. You never have to apologize to me for anything, Danny. And WKRP, I know that TJ is speaking your language since you are a devoted man of the cloth, correct?
Look at you. Yeah. How you doing, Yoda?
I'm good, man.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
What's up?
Did you?
I,
I think you were here, but WKRP. Did you hear TJ singing just now?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
No, I
too
didn't.
bad, too bad.
oh,
All right, we'll
I,
we'll
I,
have to direct you to his profile and check that out. But yeah, so welcome, TJ. This is the first time that we're talking. I'm so glad you're here. Hang out as long as you like. Basically tonight I titled this wild card because I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about, and we got into a little bit of TJ's history and a little bit of my history, and we're off and running and cooking, and it seems like we're all on the same page that Donnie Dump is a fucking disaster.
amen. I and brother, I conjured up the voices of the ancestors when they were in the field,
Yeah.
um, singing and preaching with the underground church. The black church was an underground movement, and I wish that we could remember that we were an underground movement of resistance.
Yeah. 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 And unfortunately, the history of the world is consistent when it comes to the need to have these kinds of movements. If you look at the oldest documents that are available, very often they're talking about human rights, because there's always either a person or a group of people that not only want everything for themselves, but in the process want to make sure that you don't get to have anything.
Yes.
And this has never been more obvious in the last 100 years than what's going on in America right now. There's this group of people that's like, we don't want to pay taxes, even though taxes are meaningless to us at our income level. We don't want anybody having rights. We don't want anybody having health care. We don't want anybody reading the real history of this horrific country. We don't want anything. We just want it all, because 3 yachts isn't enough. 12 houses isn't enough. 13 mistresses isn't enough. All the street candy in the world isn't enough. All the money in the world isn't enough, because they're addicted to more. And when you're addicted to more, you can never be satisfied. And they are cruel. And in some cases, like in the case, when I think about Donnie Dump, and I think about Stephen Miller, and I think think about Elon Musk, or who I like to call Felon Musk, I think of people who are clinically sociopaths. And I don't say that lightly, because it is not a light thing to accuse another human being of being a sociopath. It's the worst type of human.
It's the worst. Yeah.
Right? So,
yes.
but these people display characteristics of fucking sociopaths.
Sociopath. I just posted a video, y'all, of, oh God, what is his name? From MSNBC, the older white guy, who suggested that perhaps there is some evil force that is within him. And
is that Lawrence? Lawrence?
Yes, Lawrence O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, I love his stuff. I love he's such a powerful speaker. And since I'm a public speaker as well, I always appreciate someone who can command the room and move me, and he does it all the time.
It is because during this time there's so much at stake, and so for those of us who speak, and even I even guard myself as I do, and I'd love to hear from the other minister as I do these lives, that it is emotionally taxing, because people are suffering, and when you hear stupidity on lives, it's like I can't even argue with that.
Yeah, we deal with that all the time. And by the way, I misidentified WKRP. I said man of the cloth. I meant man of faith. So he is not a minister, but I have a feeling that he's like real close to being able to be a minister. What do you think, WKRP?
Hey,
Yoda, again, you're something else. But I do, I love God with all my heart.
yes,
And but what I was saying about that, and anybody that has a heart for people, to me, that's a God given thing. Because some people don't. I don't care whether they're atheists, different people that have their different belief, that just have a heart for humanity or something. But right now, this regime,
yes,
as you want to call it, they have no love for anyone
they don't.
but their own selfish gain, and,
Yep.
and it hurts me. I can't believe that this is the America. But then again, I can. But it just seeing it. I've heard about things, but right now being in the midst of this, it's crazy. It's
Yes,
crazy.
and I think that is why I had a wonderful conversation with Alvin Bragg, the prosecutor from New York,
Sure.
and so he was at the American Baptist Metro New York City American Baptist meetings. And Alvin and I were talking about y'all on TikTok or us on TikTok. It's not y'all, it's us. And he said, y'all are the new street corner preachers who are crying out for justice. So he said, y'all can't stop
Right.
because you all are shifting the paradigm while the paradigm is pulling back. We're pushing forward and we're again pushing it. And so we all are in a fight for our democracy and for the moral voice of the universe, not just the nation,
Yeah,
but the universe.
that makes sense. OG Nerd, how you doing this evening?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm a little
Hi,
swampy,
Sid.
but that's the worst complaint that I have. I got nothing else. It's a little moist. That's it. I'm wonderful otherwise.
Oh no, not moist.
Oh
And
Hydrate,
boy.
I
son.
I have to say that
Hydrate.
it's always a mistake to stop on that word. So I'm moist from humidity. That's really the rest of the sentence.
I'm like,
I love it.
that's a word I
Yoda.
use with my husband when he says stop.
Well, he's hot on top but cool on the bottom. Let's
Oh
be honest
Yeah,
now.
that's right. No, Danny knows me well because what he's alluding to is the fact that I'm not wearing pants. So, folks, we have 14 of us in here, and after 30 minutes, I'm shocked. There's only 2,600 likes, and I know it's because you're really
Please
into
share.
this conversation. So, I that happens to me when the conversation gets going good. I forget to tap, but please get to tap in, get to sharing out the live, and as always, you can share in two ways. The short way is hit the share icon, and you can share up to 10 people. And the long way is to press on the screen, press and hold the screen. Your friends list will pop up, and
Oh,
you can share it out to like 30 people that way. It's a lot of fun,
really?
and it's very easy. Yes, yeah. Next to their
Thank
name,
you.
it just says send, and you just go boom, 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 boom down the line. That's Danny's favorite way of doing it, and he taught me about that. So there we go. It's good. So yeah, anyway, aside from that, I didn't even really introduce myself. This is Yoda Live. I am Yoda, spelled Yoddah, because film students, listen to me, because film studios are litigious. I've only said that 5,000 times. I'll get used to it eventually. But tonight we're talking about whatever. I have some ideas, but I might not get to them. And it don't matter as long as we have fun. That's all that matters. So what's on everybody else's mind? Danny, you had a phenomenal live earlier. For those of you who don't know, Danny goes live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Normally he does 3 hours because he's a marathon man. And he talks about current events Mondays and Wednesdays. And on Fridays is Casual Friday, where we play Trivial Pursuit. And it is a blast. So much fun. But any other thing on your mind, Danny? What's going on?
Well, I can honestly say that your tapping pause was because of TJ's fault. 'Cause everybody was listening to him
Yeah,
sing.
everyone was
And
riveted by TJ. I know it wasn't me. You
he,
guys are used to me.
he almost had me in the amen corner, you know.
Yeah,
The Amen Corner. Okay.
Yeah,
So
you know, well,
y'all sounding Baptist now.
hey, no problem, brother. I chilled down. I'm good now, so I don't have to worry about it that way. But yeah, we had a great live, and if you don't mind, I want to say that I'm also doing a thing 2 days a month starting in August. It's going to be on the first and third Sunday of the month at 12 noon. It's called Vet Talk. It's veterans helping veterans. And
Awesome.
we talk about how that we can help them access their benefits, have any questions that they may have about the VA and their concerns about, other benefits that they might have coming to them that they weren't aware of. So it's veterans helping veterans, and it works. We had a young man here uh, that had some questions in my last live on Monday, and we kind of steered him in the right direction. And he will be back on the first Sunday of the month, I know, because he
yeah,
has more questions. But anyway, that's what we're
yeah.
doing. This is new. Otherwise, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm the way of positive change.
Yes. And I will be there. I literally have it in my calendar. I had to set two calendar appointments, one for the first Sunday of every month and one for the third Sunday of every month because I don't want to miss it. So I'm going to make sure that I get an alarm goes off and you're all going to be there. You all need to be there. Oh, we got some feedback. So anyway, OG Nerd, what's on your
I just
mind?
I just
Oh, go
friended
go ahead,
you from the
TJ.
other one.
Oh,
I
thank you,
just
thank you.
friended you from the other one.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. OG Nerd, what's on your mind?
Um, I, I don't know. There's a couple things on my mind. I know the big topic of the day is e-files, and barring that, um, it's keep hearing some feedback. Um, barring that, it's immigration and the inhumanity of the immigration policies.
Yes.
But there are some stories that I think are being not being told enough. There was a young man in Florida that was at a traffic stop for not having his headlights on
Mm.
during what seemed to be a sunny day, and um, he asked for a supervisor to come to his car because he was surrounded by police officers. And long story short, they busted his window out, cut his seatbelt, yanked him out of the car, beat him, and threw him down to the ground and arrested him.
Yeah, so let me
Um,
refine a couple of the details there. It was cloudy. That was confirmed. But when they broke his window open, it was simply because he asked to see a supervisor, and when they were like yelling at him, he put his hands up while he was sitting in his seat, and while he was sitting there with his hands up, through the now broken glass of the driver's side window, an officer just punched him right in the face while he was sitting there, and then they dragged him out and punched him some more. And
yes,
that because here's the problem. This is what people have to understand. Um, very often, police officers find it suspicious for someone with brown skin to be out on a cloudy day. That was where he fucked up. He was brown on a cloudy day, and he was clearly breaking the law, so they had to rough him up. You know, that's how it works in America.
Yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's and then there was the case in Alabama, which I'm not well versed in it, where the gentleman was unalived because a
Yes.
police officer kneeled on his neck. These cases go on and on. The DOJ wanted the gentleman from the Breonna Taylor case to get 1 day in jail, time served. Luckily, the judge did not go with that. He gave him 3 years, which still I think was a miscarriage of justice because it carried up to life imprisonment. What are we doing?
Same as it
Why
ever
are we
was,
still here? Why
Yeah.
are we still here?
because we're still in
Why are we
America.
still here?
Yeah.
We can do better, though.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
We
And
don't.
not while there is literal evil and white supremacy living and working in the four walls of a historic building that was built by slaves.
Yeah. And by the way, just a little trivia that I had heard a long time ago and forgot, but the White House was originally called the People's House.
So we need to send an eviction notice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Dump has definitely served a few of those up on his end. So it would be great if we could say, I mean, I think I've been saying this all along. I said this from the very beginning. I said Peter Thiel's goal, because he's in love with J.D. Vance and has been for a long time, is to put J.D. Vance in the Oval Office. Okay.
Oh my God.
And Dump is an unwitting pawn. This is high level, but Dump is not usually the most powerful or wealthy man in any room he's in. When you're talking about the Peter Thiels of the world and the Felon Musks of the world and all these other people that surround him, they are the ones that have been controlling government for a long time. This is just the most egregious that they've ever been. But the reason why Dump is racking up all of these lawsuits on the civil side, and all of these potential criminal cases is because they're using him as a lightning rod. They're letting him break the law to do their dirty work. And as soon as they don't need him anymore, and I think we're getting to that point, you're going to find out, because I don't think it's a coincidence that suddenly we found out that he had some kind of medical condition. Why have they been quiet all this time, 10 years now, not a word about his medical condition, which were obvious to a lot of us, right? But suddenly they mention one to let us know, oh, he's got congestive heart failure, because that's a sign of convective, what is it, a venous something or other? I forget what the name is, but
Venous insufficiency.
yeah, so we're seeing the beginning of the end. They're done with him. That's why the files are being talked about. They're just building their case so they can drop this guy and install J.D. Vance. And I know that sounds conspiratorial, but America has been a conspiracy since the beginning. When those people conspired to come to this country and defy the King of England.
Less conspiratorial than you think. J.D. Vance met with Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
After the first article dropped.
Yeah.
And I think that they might be working hand in hand.
Of course. I mean, Dump just sued JD, the WSJ and and Fox and Murdoch. So clearly, now the daggers are out. And Dump's going to lose. Dump's going
Right.
to lose because he doesn't realize he's been Humpty Dumpty this whole time. The only difference is all the king's horses and all the king's men are not going to come to him.
Right.
And I mean, I do believe that they're trying to make a way. Anyone who's watched Olivia Pope um, know that it's possible in Washington D.C. and that they have, and also JD Vance has been MIA, so
I
conveniently MIA.
I think that's on purpose. He
Of
keeps
course it
he
is.
keeps himself above the fray.
Of course it is. Any other VP would be mandated to get out in front of the country and protect his president. But
Mhm.
he's clearly not interested in doing that. I mean, Vance he's a worse con man than Dump is, and more than
There you go.
likely more cruel. Because I think JD Vance has an internal struggle that he fights with, having to do with his orientation. And I don't say that in any way, shape, or form as a way
I think
to
so too.
insult him, or I just think it's a real thing. It's look, we know beyond the shadow of a doubt, when you see some red-faced Republican man on television going after the rainbow community, that he is 100% part of the rainbow community.
Yes,
Okay.
Miss Lindsey Graham.
Thank you. And I mean, it's been that way. Strom Thurmond was the most virulent racist in American history, and yet had an illegitimate mixed race child. Because your pecker knows no bigotry.
Is that exactly? Oh, is that once you go black? Anyway.
By the way, I stole that from Al Franken. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard from Al Franken, but I stole that from him.
Oh my God, I miss Al Franklin.
Oh, he's a brilliant man, and let me tell you, America needs about 1,000 more Al Franklin, because he was one of the best politicians that America's ever seen. If you just look, just the brilliance of the man alone, forget about his SNL shit, forget about his comedy writing. As a politician, that man was rock solid.
Yep.
And also Jesse Helms. I mean, he had the most hateful things to say and do about the LGBT community, and I would even say Clarence Thomas, all of them.
Well,
I
he's an
mean,
Oreo.
oh
Big
God,
time.
yes. Jamal Bryan calls him a runaway
By the way,
slave.
does anyone not know what Oreo means? Just in case you don't, black on the outside, white on the inside.
White on the inside. They could be very yummy though. Those cookies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As cookies, they're great. As people, they're shit.
Yeah. I just had 6 of them, so yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, anytime I see a minority that aligns themselves with the Republican Party, I know immediately they hate themselves. Immediately. And that's not debatable. You cannot vote for your oppressor or align yourself with
Yeah.
your oppressor and tell me that you love yourself. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Black Republicans
I
are lunatics.
I stood before one time an all white congregation, and I said to them, "Stop creating black faces of white supremacy."
Mm.
So, because even in progressivism, even at our beloved Riverside, um, they they can create faces of white supremacy. Of we need a gentler face. We need a kinder voice. We can't have Jeremiah Wright come here and preach here. We can't, we're going to talk badly about Brad Braxton in the press because we can't support another black man in ministry.
I want to say something very quick about Jeremiah Wright, because they definitely did that dude dirty with the clip that they showed of him. Because for just as a refresher, this was a guy whose church Barack Obama went to, and they pulled out a
And
clip.
me.
Right. They pulled out a clip of him saying these things about Caucasians and their history, and what they always left out was the beginning of that sermon, when he said, "This is what this Caucasian dude said about this situation."
Mm-hmm.
He was literally repeating somebody else's words. I think
It
the
was
dude was
right.
an ambassador or something, and they pinned it on him as, "Oh, look, Darky saying something mean about white tea people." Some bullshit. Traffic Man, how you doing,
Yeah.
brother?
Oh, fantastic. I apologize about showing up so late this evening. I just got off a hour and a half phone call with my uncle that I haven't talked to since 2020, and
Uh-huh.
everything's fantastic. So,
Well, let
um,
me let me
yeah. So
let
that
me quote Al Pacino from the film Glengarry Glen Ross. "Your excuses are your own."
there you go.
If
If I may
anyone,
ask,
if
what
by the
is the
way,
topic of the evening?
well, we're all over the place, but um,
That's fine.
have you
Good.
have you seen Glengarry Glen Ross?
Me myself, no, I have not.
Traffic Man? Now that I've established
It's
myself as someone who recommends
yes.
excellent films, I would suggest, since I never tell adults what to do, I would suggest that you would more than likely enjoy that film. Unfortunately, this film took
Well,
place as Al Pacino was forgetting how to act, but there's lots of other
okay.
stars in that film, and it's an excellent film. And anyone who's ever been in sales has to see Glenn Ross, because you will see every salesperson you've ever met in that film. So,
If I may,
yes.
this is the movie. This is Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, Alec Baldwin, Kevin Spacey, Ed
Yes, sir.
Harris, Alan Arkin. Okay, good. I have that. I have now added that to my list of Yoda's movies to watch, guaranteed to satisfy.
On.
Because so far, you're batting 1,000.
Well, I recommended one, you liked one. Yes, I am literally batting 1,000. So obviously there's nowhere to go but down
Yes.
from there. However, I believe very strongly that I will maintain my streak with this film. Have you seen any other films by David Mamet?
I now
Not that
want to
I'm
do a
aware of.
search.
No, sir.
Okay, but because David Mamet wrote this film, he's an amazing playwright, and his films have a very particular cadence to them, because Mamet likes to write dialogue along to a metronome to give it a rhythm. And
Okay.
he's famous
Okay.
for dialogue driven films, and this is all dialogue. And Alec Baldwin gives a speech in this film that is often quoted, and you'll know the quote when you hear it. Well, I'm not going to tell you ahead of time.
That's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
We did
What?
a we did a David Mamet play in college, in undergrad. I believe it was God's Country.
Hmm. Yeah, he's got so many. I
Powerful.
mean, American Buffalo, The Spanish Prisoner, which was a who did a dramatic role in that? Oh man, damn it! I'm forgetting who was in that, but it was a guy known for comedy, but he did a great dramatic piece in that. Now I've got to look it up.
Leslie Nielsen?
No, fuck that.
No, okay. Sorry.
God's Country was
Leslie-
actually
You said a great
Leslie
man known for
Nielsen was the
comedy
opposite. He
and
was known for
drama.
drama and then switched to
For
comedy.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
God's Country was
Listen.
actually about a broadcaster that was unalived by this leader of a hate group, schmutzies, and that whole ordeal. It was a very powerful play.
That sounds like the film that Jude Law just made.
What was the name of it?
I'm forgetting, but Steve Martin was in The Spanish Prisoner in a completely non-comedic role.
Wow.
Yeah. And Steve Martin is beyond fucking brilliant.
So
people
one
people
thing
don't
that I
even know how fucking talented that dude is. No, really. Like a lot of people know Steve Martin for his comedy, obviously.
No, for real.
But he's also
Sure.
an amazing dramatic actor.
Like,
He's an author.
my lights
He's a
went out.
playwright. He's a world-class banjo player.
Hey guys, my
I did know
lights
that
went
about
out.
him. Yes, the
Your
banjo
lights went out,
part.
TJ?
I did know that about him. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna disconnect.
All right. Well, a pleasure having you. Please come up
That was
anytime.
weird.
All right. So I'm sorry, you were saying, Traffic Man?
Sorry to interject. The one thing I did not get to add when Danny's live was up, the one thing about watching The Godfather over the weekend, there were many tropes that, things from that movie
Yeah.
that growing up watching cartoons and there's so many scenes that I have seen before that seemed very familiar. Well like when Don Corleone went and he was like, "I'm gonna go buy some fruit." That whole scene, I've seen it played out in many different and seeing it originally, you know what I mean, it gave it real meaning. And I want to bring this back to about 10 years ago, or 6 years, daughter was born. My wife and I decided that we were going to watch MASH. Okay. I have never seen MASH in its entirety.
Are you
I've only
talking
seen
about
bits and pieces and
the
reruns
film
and
or the
stuff like
TV
that.
show?
The TV show. The TV show.
Gotcha.
And there's a very famous scene when Radar walks into the surgical suite. And Alan Alda says, "Radar, put a mask on."
Oh, that's
And then
when
he
the
reads,
guy
okay,
had passed away. Yeah.
yes. Okay, so bear with me on this. I had never seen that. I had never seen that episode up until this point. However, Family Guy did a spoof on that episode, and it was one of the season 2 or 3, I forget what it was. Anyways, Peter Griffin says to Meg, you should see the other way that the studio wanted to unalive you. And then it cuts to Brian Griffin walking into the surgical suite, and Peter Griffin says, "Brian, put a mask on." And then Brian says, Meg's plane was pew-pewed over the Sea of Japan. It spun in. There were no survivors. Okay, right?
Yep.
And then Stewie comes in and says, "Who do I talk about as Section 8?" Growing up, I didn't understand why that was funny. I knew it was funny. It was funny. So here we are now, years later, and my wife and I are watching MASH, and then all of a sudden, Radar walks in with that note in his hand and says, and you hear Alan Alda say, "Radar, put a mask on." And I laughed uncontrollably at that scene. One of the most emotional moments in MASH history, and I'm this sick man laughing at that scene because I finally got the joke from 20 years ago. and I will tell you there were a lot of scenes in Godfather that I finally got it. You know what I mean? So,
Well,
take that
it's
as you will, I guess.
a film that large. Like, if you go to IMDb and read the trivia section of that film, it'll take you a very long time to get through it,
Oof.
because that film
Oof.
influenced so much of what you see in cinema. I mean, it like,
Right. No,
the only time they broke the mold was starting with Goodfellas, because The Godfather
okay,
romanticized
yeah.
mob life. Like, the mob was never like that. The mob was never
Right.
like it was portrayed in The Godfather. It wasn't men of honor. These were all scumbags fucking each other over 15 minutes after it was
Correct.
formed. Okay?
Correct. Yes.
Some dude, bangs your girlfriend and you're dropping dime on him like in a heartbeat. Like, this is just, and
Right. Exactly.
especially when
Exactly.
mandatory minimums came about. And, because it was one thing for a guy to do a skid bid or maybe do a year or two. You could survive that. You could, your family would
Right.
be made whole and you'd be okay. Everything was cool. But now they were looking at 20 years when these
Right.
mandatory minimums hit, and they started singing as soon as that shit. So all that bullshit about loyalty and honor, that was all romanticized shit.
Right
And The
out the window.
Godfather was the big reason why it was romanticized. And then the ultimate turning about, the ultimate deconstruction of The Godfather was The Sopranos. Because The
And
Sopranos is or was how the mob truly is.
I have to tell you, at the time, The Sopranos was somewhat available to me to watch, and I never sat down and watched it. And I will
Oh,
tell you, please.
My God.
I was a
oh,
stupid youth, okay?
I'm
No,
gonna
no,
need
listen,
I'm gonna
listen,
need a
listen.
standing 8 count
Okay.
for this shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, The Sopranos is so I whatever it's called now, Max, whatever. I have the ability to sit down and watch it from beginning to end.
yeah.
And I absolutely want to make it a point where I do want to watch that. But
You won't go wrong.
I
You
will
won't go wrong
tell
watching it.
you,
If you
there
if
was
you
that
like
scene,
writing,
and we'll end on the Godfather. I will end the movie when the garden.
look, it sounds like we have a delay going on. You're going in and out. But if you like writing,
Sorry, yeah,
if you're a fan of good dialogue and psychology and brilliant storytelling and twists that you will never see coming, no matter how good you think you are at seeing twists, there is some shit that you will just not see coming. The Sopranos is it. It's one of the best written
okay.
television shows that I have ever seen, and I've seen pretty much every significant television show in the last 50 some odd years.
Yep, it's good.
The thing that angers me is that I know how it ends because social media is what it is. So
You don't really know
I
how
know
it
how it
ends. You
ends.
don't, you don't,
However,
you don't,
well,
you
right,
don't know how it ends.
When
Trust
you
me when I
know the
tell you
whole
that.
story, it doesn't.
okay,
You don't know the significance of
Yeah,
it,
because
though.
we weren't given an
okay,
ending. What you are reading is speculation. So nobody knows how it ends.
perfect.
And
Okay,
the biggest
good, good.
theories about
I'm
how it
glad to hear
ends
that.
don't make sense. The biggest theories, the thing that people assert about how it ended doesn't make sense in the context of that world, because that's not something the mob would do. That's my opinion. So,
Okay,
you think you don't.
okay. Well, listen, real quick. Now that I have a good connection, I will say this, and I will end on this. As far as The Godfather is concerned, um, I was disappointed to see Marlon Brando playing with his grandchild in the tomato plants, right? And how that scene played out, I looked at my and I didn't pause it at this point, okay, because I know about the pausing, but I looked at my wife and I was like, he's not in the second one. Wait, what? Wait a minute, what? This is it? Like I was a little bit upset over the fact that this was it, but it plays into the story of how Mikey becomes who he becomes. It's important to the story.
It's
So
so
I
weird.
just,
I've never heard anyone refer to Michael Corleone as Mikey. You're literally the
but
first one that's done that.
but the reason I say Mikey, but isn't that what they called him in the film? Like Sonny called him Mikey, Tom called
S-
him Mikey. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, but
Okay,
and
okay,
you're 100% right. I'm just telling you, I saw that film in 1972. So from 72 to
okay.
now, you're the first civilian that has referred to him as Mikey.
Well, listen, I'm still wet behind the ears when it comes to The Godfather,
I'm
so
not saying you're wrong.
just
I'm
we'll
just
go with
saying
that.
I've never heard it before. It's just
No, you're
interesting
fine.
to
No,
hear,
absolutely.
you know? But yeah, no,
Yep.
and it's a film where my experience, I don't buy a lot of films because I think it's just kind of useless. Most of them just gather dust. But I
Sure.
did buy one and two. And I would say at this point, every like 2 or 3 years, I get the urge to watch them again. And sometimes, like the last time I watched them, it was like the almost 7 hours of watching them back to back,
Oof. Oh,
but the storytelling is
well,
amazing. And the advantage that you'll have with The Sopranos is that when you can watch them on demand, the story is actually more cohesive because we had to wait
okay.
9 years to see or whatever it was, 7 years, whatever, however long it was on. We had to wait that whole time to watch that story unfold. And there were people that used to complain about certain things and certain plot twists and some things that they said didn't make sense. But the last time I watched The Sopranos, it was straight through over a period of whatever, a few weeks, I guess, where I watched a few episodes
Right.
every day. And I realized, no, you can actually see that the story is cohesive, that the things that people thought were plot lines, plot holes, actually were not.
Well, and see that I will tell you, somebody who was born in 1984, there are a lot of movie series that, Star Wars, for instance, or even Star Trek, for instance.
Mhm.
But Star Wars, for instance, my experience with Star Wars was every holiday season, one of the TV networks played A New Hope, Return of the or Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So I never got to experience the downtime in between them,
Right.
until A Phantom Menace came out. And for me, the first like delay in Star Wars was between A a Menace and whatever that second one was. I don't remember what it was called because the third one was Revenge of the Sith. I don't remember what the second one was called because it's exactly
Yeah.
that's how important it is to the film series. But um, I will say I have noticed with my children now, like there are things where, and this might sound menial to speaking of these fantastically written films, but like for them watching SpongeBob, okay, on television, or they get season 1 through 63 or whatever the hell we're at right now. They can watch them in progression all day long, kind of thing. And I remember, like, and the new episode would come out on Friday night, and you had to wait, and that goes with any other TV show, at the time, at the time. So, but yeah, um, but anyways, if you'd like to talk about something more political, I have something that I'd like to bring up to get away
Uh,
from movies,
I
if
mean,
you wish.
whatever floats your boat, man.
So I think that the current administration is currently using the language. They're currently putting the right people in place that they're going to actually attempt to either bring charges against, or at least to bring charges against, but at most they're going to try to arrest President Obama. And listen, I'm skeptical at this point as well. Like, come on, like this isn't something that's going to happen. However, it's very disturbing to see Tulsi Gabbard stand in front of a press corps and accuse him of treason. Like openly accuse this man of treason based on an election that happened in 2016. And I understand that most of this is some sort of diversion, obviously, because of everything that's going on right now with the e-files and whatnot, and the current president wants to push himself away from that. But I mean, I'm kind of worried because at this point, the Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, says that he was looking into getting to a point where they could subpoena President Obama to come into a Senate or a House judiciary hearing. And I know that he doesn't have any,
So
my whole point
AC,
is, with
welcome
as
aboard.
crazy as this
What do you think of
administration,
the possibility that
sorry,
President
go ahead.
Obama is going to be arrested?
There's zero fucking chance that man gets arrested.
Right.
I understand. Believe me, traffic. I understand. First off, it's nice seeing you here, brother. I love anytime you're on a panel there, traffic.
The same, yes.
But for sure. So we were just going through some of the documents, some of the documents that Tulsi Gabbard says is the fucking smoking gun to Trump's treason. I've said that a little too much. Obama's treason. And it is shocking that anybody that has a reading level over a fifth grade reading level thinks that this is any sort of damning information. It is all speculative and all could be's, possiblies, should be's, and if anybody knows legality and what needs to be in a document to hold legal weight against someone, it has to be absolutes. It can't be could be, possibly, probably. Like, it's just wild.
Oh, God help
What do
us.
you
We're
think?
in
What do you
trouble.
think, there, Yoddah?
My main.
We're in trouble
Go ahead.
because AC said anybody over a fifth grade reading level.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're obviously
You're
not
right,
talking
Rick.
about MAGA hats, but so here's the thing. I took law in high school for a year because most of my life people told me I should be a lawyer. And then I found out what
You'd make a
lawyers
fucking
do.
fantastic lawyer.
Yeah,
mean-
except I prefer to hoe myself out in other ways. So because being a lawyer sucks most of the time. You are worked
Yeah.
like you're on a plantation. You are frankly exploited for your labor in the very beginning. And if you want to rise to the level of the prominent lawyers whose names we know, chances are you're going to have a lot of sleaze under your fingernails. All right?
Sure.
And I know that there are exceptions, but that is the rule. Okay? And anyway, I dissuaded myself from becoming a lawyer, but the law has always fascinated me. So when Dump's legal troubles emerged after his first administration, I literally watched law stories about that every day for 2.5 years and learned a lot about the law as a result. So that's why when you said that they were thinking about arresting Obama, I had to laugh because there's just nothing to that. What's up, Blue?
I,
So go ahead.
I,
Go ahead, Trevor.
I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah.
When I think to myself logically that obviously that this is just showmanship, this is just theater. Obviously, there's nothing that they can hold this man on at all, right? Like looking at everything, there's no way. My concern is that this administration has not held themselves to logic, to law, to anything, and that's my concern. Is
So I get what you're going, where you're going. Let me address that.
right? No,
Let's
please.
remember what happened after Dump lost in 2020. And isn't it hilarious that he's like, you're still talking about my friend Jeff? You're still talking about losing in 2020,
Yeah,
motherfucker. What are you talking about? But
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
That part.
Right.
he made the allegation that contest in 2020 was rigged, right?
Sure.
And brought, I believe, roughly 68 cases to that effect. What happened every single time those lawyers stepped into a courtroom and were asked, what evidence do you have? Because here's the decision that they had to make. I either tell the truth and admit that there's no evidence, or I lose my law license.
Right.
That was the choice that they had. And all of them chose to keep their law license, except some of the hardcore, like Rudy.
Rudy
I
Giuliani,
like to call him Rudy
Powell,
Tooty, fresh and fruity.
There you
Yeah.
go. Sydney the Kraken Powell
Yeah.
also lost her law license.
Sydney sociopath. Yeah.
Right.
So aside from those hardcore in the trenches sociopaths, everyone else decided, and by the way, even the judges that Dump appointed dismissed these cases. Because there's only so far you can take the illegality, and Dump can attempt anything he wants. But at the end of the day, you got to put feet on the street, and these lawyers have to risk their entire fucking careers in order to please him. And they're not doing it. They're not doing it. So they could talk all the shit they want right now. But let's see if any one of them steps into a fucking courtroom.
Right. And I'm hoping, I have that hope that regardless of whatever happens in the next few weeks regarding this situation, that normally the turn of phrase is cooler heads will prevail. I like to look at it as smarter heads will prevail, and that if hypothetically, if they do bring this to any kind of end, that there's going to be a federal court judge, regardless of who appointed that federal court judge, that's going to be like, no, and just and that's going to be the end of it, kind of thing.
We've already seen it. We've already seen this play out. In 2021, this is all we saw all over the country. Judges and lawyers were like, yeah, fuck this guy.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing, though, too, is the recent Supreme Court ruling of presidential immunity. Any act of the president is considered to be a presidential act, and therefore they cannot be held liable after, they're no longer the president. So, like, I don't understand how. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even understand how Tulsi Gabbard can even make the accusations that she made.
Tulsi Gabbard.
On the simple fact that
Tulsi Gabbard is the only politician during Dump's second impeachment to vote present. What else do you need to know about her?
Correct.
Honestly.
Right. Well,
in March of this year, she was in a hearing saying Iran's fine. no problems. All of the agencies, both governmental and independent around the world, have told me that there's no difference in their program than it was in 2003. We're good. Don't worry. Good to go. In June of this
Right.
year, she was saying I was taken out of context about Iran. What? She's nothing.
Right.
She's nothing.
Right.
You remember the
Honestly.
reference you made earlier about the Oreo?
Yeah.
Remember that? Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tulsi's a Hawaiian Fig Newton. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't trust her as far as I could throw her. And that's to be
And,
truthful with you. If she was working on the streets, I wouldn't even give her a dime for that ass.
Well,
Damn, Grandpa.
look, this is where we get to the subjective part of our program, because I would bang the bejesus out of Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh,
listen,
Okay.
I'm not gonna listen.
Listen,
I'm not gonna throw her out of
wait,
bed
let
for
me
discussion.
justify myself.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a
Go ahead.
thing
Go ahead.
for
Go ahead.
evil women.
There you go.
So would that be with or without pants?
Always without pants.
Okay. All right.
I've
okay,
done
Yoda.
I've
Let
done
me
some
tell
of
you
my best
something.
work pantsless.
You
So
can
what we saying, OG?
you can get a good woman who will do evil things. Just keep that in mind.
I did. I married
Listen,
one for
listen.
23 years.
I,
So
I,
yeah.
I, I love the spirit of that, but that's complete horseshit.
Oh
You didn't meet my
no.
first wife, but I may help you out. You never know.
I will say
You can get an evil woman to do good things once in a while. You can't get a good woman to do evil things.
That's
the
not
It's
Cruella
true.
Deville
it's cosplay. I'm not with cosplay.
yes, the Cruella Deville
Oh Lord.
streak that she has in her hair is kind of annoying, but
I fucking love it.
that's again subject. Well, see, that's the thing is, from a 40-year-old perspective, I guess, it's kind of, I don't know. But
Randy
yeah,
French agrees with you. She's hot.
And that's nice. I don't care who agrees or disagrees. I'm guided by my own voices on this shit.
right, right.
You know, I've dated chicks all over the spectrum, and they just have to be hot to me. I don't care who else thinks they are. It's nice if other people agree, but you know.
I want to apologize to OG on the panel. I shouldn't have said that word 10 cents for whatever. So I was out of color for me.
Hey,
Well,
you're
and
talking
listen,
to the lady who runs OG After Dark, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
perfect.
Hey, Dubbins, how you doing?
That was the wildest shit I've ever heard come out of somebody's mouth.
Which part?
She is not even remotely hot, but that's cool if you think she's hot. But oh my god,
No, see, here's the thing. Saying she's not hot is incorrect, because you're saying that nobody could find her hot. If you say she's not hot to you, that makes perfect sense. I didn't say she was hot or gorgeous or whatever. I just said I would bang the shit out of her. Right? That's me. That I don't care
okay,
whether other people think she is or isn't or whatever. That, like, I take this approach to everything. I don't say that song sucks. I'll say I don't like that song. Because all it takes is one person to like that song, and that song doesn't suck anymore. Right? So you don't find her attractive? Fine.
See, this is why I like about Yoda's lives.
it's
Because
fair. Do
we
you
can
think you'll
have
ever
these
get it back?
discussions. Regardless, we can have these discussions, and it's fantastic.
What'd you say,
I
Dubbins?
know a guy that has. Oh,
I said that's fair, but do you think you'll ever get it back?
Ever get what back?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Your pantsless
No,
tool that you would use.
if I knew what you were talking about, I wouldn't ask you what are you talking about.
That's what they got
No,
blue pills for. He's good.
no. I'm talking about from that person.
Okay,
I think what he's
moving
trying to
on.
say
Since
is,
I'm,
yeah.
the riddles are not appealing
I
to me.
can't. I
So,
can't. I can't say
hypothetically,
your member
Well, you
because
can.
you're.
You just
I guess I
did.
can't say that. I can't say that. No, no,
I,
no. I
I
can't say that. I guess. Yeah.
I think what he's trying to say is
I'm trying not to get you
after
taken
the
down.
act is completed, the part of you that was used will no longer exist.
Okay,
Am I right?
Thank
I
you.
like
Yes.
yeah, the
Yes. You
TikTok stuff. Sorry,
translated my not
that
remembering
was
TikTok
a
speak very
very
well.
long way to go for no payoff, but fine.
Do
yes.
do you know
Okay,
rigor
there you go.
mortis does set in at the end, don't you? You do know that,
Jesus
right?
Christ, Danny.
Stiff as a board.
Oh, oh.
Derailed Diesel is asking Yoda after dark. That's 24/7 with me, my friend. So I don't need a designated time.
Listen, Yoda. When I joined Danny's live earlier, while my kids were asleep, and unfortunately, Danny, I apologize about declining your invite initially because I was next to my kids trying to get them to go to sleep. But
Oh,
Yoda,
what
you were going
happened?
off. You were going off, and I have no idea what you were going off about. But that shit was awesome. I mean, it was Vegas stuff, obviously, but yeah, no, you were voicing your opinion clearly, and I was here for it.
That's every live when he's on my panel. That's not, yeah.
Ex- Except for Fridays during Trail Pursuit.
So I'm sorry. Were you saying that Danny was going off or I was going off?
No. You were going off.
Oh, yes, yes,
So
yes.
what?
Sorry, I
Yes,
missed that part.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. I was very energetic during Danny's live, and it's funny because I was laughing to myself. I kept saying, "You better save some of this. You got some work to do later on your own live, man." But I'm just very passionate about how much the Democrats are fucking up,
Oh my
and only
God.
in one area, just in terms of messaging.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Democrats are just fucking up. Like
No, they 100% are.
right now, I think the Democrats would do well to take a page out of Sinclair's playbook. Sinclair is that right wing media outlet that owns almost everything that you see on television. And they
Yep.
have a daily memo that they send out, and every one of their anchors reads it word for word. Most of the politicians read it word for word so that the right is always on the same page. And the left is not.
Right.
And I don't want the left to become the right, but I want them to take what works and retool it for their purposes. And the way the right communicates is something that the left has to learn how to do. Because I'm sick of all these bullshit excuses of Democrats like, but the Republicans lied. Yeah, we all know that, so tell the truth better.
Well, and that's the thing is, I really think that the Democrats seriously need to stop basing all of their arguments, like you just said. Um, Full stop. Stop blaming the Republicans because anything that I've heard out of the Democrats recently has just been, it's this blame game. Like, oh well, look what the Republicans are doing. Stop. Ignore what they're doing. Tell us what you would do better for us. Like actually spell out what you want to do. This is why this is one of the reasons why I feel that Zorhan Mandami beat the ever living crap out of Andrew Cuomo in New York because
Exactly.
he was on message.
Hold that
Yeah,
thought for seconds. Dubbins,
go
I'm
ahead,
not
go ahead.
sure if you're asking me to drop you or if you're asking whether I should drop you. What's going on?
I didn't. I didn't want to duck out because supposedly it's better for the algorithm for you to
So
drop
you
me.
want me to drop you? Gotcha. All right. Have a great
Yeah.
night. Thanks for coming
All
by.
right. You too.
All right. Sorry. Keep going. Yes. Andrew
But
Cuomo. We were talking about that
right,
earlier. For people outside of New York, they won't understand the significance of this, but
sure,
the Cuomo name is royalty in New York City.
correct,
And the
correct, and
fact that Mamdani, who has shockingly branded himself a democratic socialist for reasons that I will never fucking understand, he beat the pants off that dude.
yes,
And
he
part
did,
of and part
and I
of the
and I think
reason that he does it is because he is a man of the people and he uses social media to his benefit.
100%. And what's funny though right now is so I listen to I don't know if you're familiar with Sam Cedar.
Yes, I am very much so.
Um, okay,
Been listening to
so
him since the Air America
I
days.
listen.
Oop, you cut out. Did you get a phone call?
Perfect
Oh,
information. I get. Oh, I'm sorry. No,
you,
no.
you,
Oh,
it,
there. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
It's like the Verizon days. Can you hear me now? Okay. Um, the important thing is, so I get a lot of my Zorhan information from Sam Cedar's show every day. I listen to it while I'm at work, stuff like that. And what's funny now is the Cuomo team, because like even though he lost the primary, he still hasn't given up. And they're starting to they're trying to do this social media thing like Zorhan did, as far as like showing videos where he's going out and like shaking hands and fist bumping people and dabbing people up and all that stuff like that. And you see Andrew Cuomo trying to do the same thing, and it's cringe as hell. It's cringe as hell
Of course.
because Andrew Cuomo is not that man. That's not who he is fundamentally.
You can't
You
just
know,
imitate people without knowing what the secret sauce is. This is the same thing I
correct,
say about Hakeem Jeffries. I have never liked that
correct.
guy because I pay attention to several things at once when I'm listening to someone. What they're saying, how they're saying it, and what their body is telling me. And what Hakeem Jeffries is telling me is that he's full of shit most of the time.
Yeah,
He tries to steal Barack Obama's verbal cadence. He tries to steal Barack Obama's gestures. He looks ridiculous when he speaks because all of his gestures are practiced and artificial. This
100%.
thing, this fucking bullshit that politicians do. I don't know who the fuck taught them that. I don't know what communications expert or speech coach taught them that, but it's stupid. They got to stop
Well,
doing
see,
that.
I remember that from Bill Clinton back when I was a kid during the Monica Lewinsky years, where he was sitting there going, "What's the definition of is?" And that exact hand gesture that you just did. That's the same hand gesture he did, and that seems to be this. Yeah, exactly. I don't know where that comes from, and it seems
It
like
comes
you
from
know
consultants. I can smell consultants from a mile away. Okay.
somebody needs to get new consultants.
Whenever you see a trend like that in communication,
Right.
some consultant somehow got in and made a name for themselves, and now everybody uses the same consulting firm, and they decided that this is how politicians need to gesture. It's fucking stupid.
It really
But
is.
Hakeem Jeffries, he's trying to be like Barack Obama without understanding why Barack Obama is an effective communicator. And
Correct.
it's like the degradation that happens when you make a copy of something and then you take the copy and make a copy and then you take that copy and make a copy. Eventually it looks like
Right.
shit. That's Hakeem Jeffries.
And so I like to explain to people the difference between Obama and Hakeem Jeffries. Barack Obama is the type of man that, and I know this might sound a little anecdotal or whatever, but Barack Obama is the type of man that could come here to my house, and you know what I mean. Like he would sit down, he would communicate. From what I've seen of that man, he seems like he's the type of person that no matter who he's talking to, he can talk to them. He can communicate with them. He can level with them. He can, you know what I mean? Hakeem Jeffries, on the same token, would be almost like the JD Vance of the Democratic Party. Like he would come over. No, I hate to say that, but like
No,
he would come
it's
over
spot
and
on because
everything would be
JD
awkward.
is also performative all the time.
110%. And I think that, you know, somebody needs to sit Hakeem Jeffries down and be like, find your thing.
I have a different
Yes, you
message
know
for
what I mean?
Hakeem Jeffries, which is shut the fuck up.
Okay, that's fine too.
I call Hakeem Jeffries hands because he's always making boxes with his hands when you watch him talk.
Yeah, am I watching Hakeem? Is it Madonna? What the fuck is going on here?
No, but you guys are right. Like when you see him talk, he is very unsure of himself.
So inauthentic.
Correct.
So inauthentic.
Yeah,
Because
and
he instead of just being a communicator, he is trying to figure out how a communicator should be. I went through the same thing when I got on social media. I was trying to be a content creator. The only reason I went from getting almost no views and almost no followers to getting 12 point something thousand followers is because I just said, you know what? You know how to communicate. Stop trying to be a content creator and just communicate. And suddenly everything skyrocketed.
Right.
you got to be yourself.
Right.
That's it. Because human beings are amazing at one thing more than any other thing, and that is pattern recognition. As a matter of fact, there has still not been a computer designed, even a supercomputer, that can recognize patterns the way human beings can. Our brains are extraordinarily attuned to patterns because you have to be. You have to be able to tell the difference between the wind moving the grass and a tiger moving the grass.
Correct.
You have to be able to smell the relative pressure in the air to know if rain is coming. The only reason humans thrived is because we understood the pattern of the seasons, and that's when we started getting into agriculture, and that stopped us from being nomads and able to build cities. So pattern recognition, that's why you don't have to go to one class, have one degree, or know anything in order to go, that guy sounds like a shithead.
Yeah, exactly.
You just feel it. You just feel it. You can feel the smarm. Let me tell you, very anecdotal, but this is a true story. I'm going to tell you two true stories. One involves my son, one involves me. When my son was maybe two or three. Oh, he's probably about 2. I was dating a woman who worked at WBLS. She eventually worked for Russell Simmons, and she worked for Sean Combs as well. She was pretty famous in that world on the executive side. And she worked for BLS, which is, you know, a famous black radio station in New York City because it was black owned. And I believe it was the first black owned radio station. And because this woman I was dating worked there, I got to meet everybody there, including the owner, Percy Sutton, who is legendary as a business person and a former Manhattan Borough president. And the VP of that was a man named Percy Jackson. Hal Jackson. Hal Jackson, not related to Michael Jackson, but Hal was a sweet, wonderful guy. Percy Sutton was like a snake. And one time I went to pick up my lady and I had my son with me, and I got out. She walked out with the 2 of those guys. She grabbed my son and handed him off to Hal Jackson. Sweet, wonderful human being, one of the nicest people I've ever met. My son just jumped in his arms, right? Percy reached for my son, and my son did this. Right? He just felt it. He just absolutely felt it. Fast forward, this is around 88, 89, something like that. She had left and she had started working for a record label, and I can't say which one it is because the guy's still around. But she started right before their Christmas party, like a week before their Christmas party. So we wound up at their Christmas party. I'm there. She introduces me to this head of this record label. I shook his hand, said happy holidays. He walked away, and I said, that guy's a fucking snake in the grass. Don't trust him. And she didn't know why I said it. She didn't understand my logic at all. 6 weeks later, he had gotten her to start a bunch of projects and then fired her so he wouldn't have had to pay her commission. And we all have this. We all can sense these things. So when a guy like Hakeem Jeffries starts talking, I'm just like, ugh, this guy's horrible. And everyone, you know, they talk so great about him. Oh, he's the next superstar in the Democratic Party. I'm like, choose better. Choose better. He's not a superstar. He's one of the politicians that does this every day. Which way is the wind blowing? I'm going to go based on that.
Well, and I think it's important too, also because he's from New York, correct?
Hakeem,
Am
yes.
I mistaken with
Yes,
that?
he's
Okay.
he's a rep out of New York.
Okay, so one of the things that I've noticed is he still is having these like moments where he doesn't want to meet, like he talks about hypothetically meeting with Zohan for and trying to come with his team and do this, that, and the other. But like he just feels super disingenuous. Like he has already made the decision that anything that Zohan has to say, he doesn't want to listen to. You know what I mean? And that's to your point about him. Yeah, that's where I look at him and go, like, dude, embrace this man and work with him. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be on this page of, well, my team's talking with his team and blah blah blah. Like,
Right now, the establishment Democrats are just acting like assholes. It's just that simple.
correct.
All this talk
Yep.
of this Middle Eastern phobia, this Muslim phobia, it's all bullshit. And it's all so disappointing, especially coming from minorities. Like, stop it.
Correct.
Stop
Correct.
being the type of, like in Harriet Tubman's time, she would off people for, if you were an indentured person who like was jeopardizing her operation, she took you out. And some of these people are acting like that, this is what the Republicans do right that the Democrats do wrong. Cohesion.
Yeah.
And on the Democrat side, you've got good candidates that you can get behind. And
Right.
Zohan is one of them. So let's see. We have a couple of new guests. We have Alibi 65. How you doing?
Great.
What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, I just came in. I heard you talking about Jeffries, and I'm like, that is so how I feel about him, and it's embarrassing because
It
some
is.
people just love him, but I'm like, he's not real at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people like McDonald's, and same thing. That's not even food. So,
Yeah,
That analogy is fire, Yoda. I love it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. I come up with an original idea like once every other year. So that's it for now. Dude, that's I filled my
that's
quota.
no shit. You know that. We all know that in this room.
Rev, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Happy to be alive another day, even though I've got a case of swamp ass going pretty hard right now, but I'm good otherwise. What's
It's
on
that
your
corn
mind?
flip.
This is interesting. The whole Hakeem Jeffries discussion. I've never heard this point of view before.
Yeah.
And what do you think of
From
what you've heard so far?
anyone. I've always had a good opinion of Hakeem,
Mm-hmm.
and but I find this interesting, and I don't disagree with a lot of the things that you're discussing. So, but I do love Barack Obama will always be
Wow.
above most Democrats as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
a
him
fair
to be
assessment.
all
You know,
things.
the thing with Hakeem, all right. I think this is a good way to frame this. I insisted with my second ex-wife. I said, I don't care if you want to stick a cleaver in my chest. Don't make that shit public. I absolutely hate couples that argue in public.
Ugh.
Part
Right.
of my vows to my wife, and part of the vows that I heard at every single wedding I've ever been to, even when people write their own vows, there's one word that I've heard at every single wedding, and that is honor. We are supposed to honor each other. And if we're fighting in public, we are not honoring each other. I never said an unkind word about my wife while I was married to her. Not even to my best friend. When I told him that I wanted to divorce her, he was genuinely shocked. Because I had never, ever taken anything that happened between the two of us and shared that publicly with anyone. None of my closest friends knew. My whole point in saying all that is part of my disappointment with Hakeem is how he reacted to Mamdani.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been fine if he felt that way. He's entitled to feel and think whichever fucking way he wants. But he made that shit public.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, you know what? This is how I felt about this motherfucker the whole time. And now I have my evidence.
Yep.
You're absolutely correct.
It's funny that we're talking about this because when I first started seeing Hakeem on the political scene, I was trying to force myself to like him. This is for the good of the party. Just you know,
Right.
if people like him in New York, that's fine. But like there was always that, you know, that unsurety that I saw in when he spoke, you know, either in a press conference or in public or whatever. He was so unsure of himself, and in politics you can't do that. That's like showing your whole ass to a crowd.
My fellow
Get it all
Americans, I want you to understand that.
Yeah,
Fucking
it is just.
He
it's
sometimes
crazy.
gestures when he's not speaking.
I've noticed that. You're
Yeah,
right.
he's doing that shit while he's taking questions, like somebody else is speaking, like he's got the invisible mic, trying to, you know, get
It's
his next
just so
comments or
fake.
question.
It's so fucking fake.
He's the mime.
It really is. I mean, you know, the thing about Dump, because, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah.
Some people hated that I would say that Dump is a good communicator. Now, what I mean by good communicator is effective communicator.
Yeah.
Because Barack Obama is a beautiful and immaculate speaker. When he speaks, literally, I have cried at almost every speech Barack Obama ever gave. I cannot
Oh, yeah.
say that for anyone else that I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
And I love good public speakers. MLK brilliant speech. His "I Have a Dream" speech knocks me the fuck out. Right?
Yeah.
The speech he gave the night before he left us, where he says, "I have seen the mountaintop. I may not get there with you." Amazing.
Gives you
But so few
Still,
speakers can affect me that way, right? So there's the beautiful and immaculate speakers. We know who they are. We love them. They're great. But then there's effective communication. Dump is a train wreck of a public speaker, but he's an extraordinarily effective communicator,
Mhm.
right? So as phony as
Yep.
he is, as evil as he is, as fucked up as he is, as much neurological damage as he allegedly, almost certainly has, um, he still knows how to connect with other human beings.
Mm.
And Hakeem doesn't.
No.
He
You're
seems like a
right.
very intelligent man. He seems like his heart is in the right place most of the time. But I don't trust people who are performing in a way that I notice they're performing. Like, that's what I say about actors. One of the reasons that we love De Niro so much is we've never caught him acting.
Right.
There's never a
Yep.
moment where we're watching Pacino and we get distracted by some mistake that he's made because he's drawn us in so completely. Whereas Pacino is on the other end of the spectrum. After Scent of Woman, this motherfucker decided that he's got to scream in every film. And you just go, oh, well, Al's lost it. He doesn't have it anymore. Meryl Streep. If you can watch Sophie's Choice and not be a destroyed person at the end of that film, then you probably are a sociopath. But like, have you ever had a moment in any Meryl Streep performance where you were like, just, this doesn't feel right? No. So when I listen to a guy like Hakeem and I'm constantly going, oh my God, what are you doing? What do you do? Why are you performing so much in such a noticeable way? It's just very disappointing to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are going to
it's
start wrapping up. Let's go from the top down. Rev, I know you just joined us, but do you have any final thoughts for the evening?
Well, props to you, Yoda, because most people don't really change my opinions or my mind once it's set on a certain way of thinking. But the discussion that I've listened to since I've been here, I have a different perspective on Hakeem and just going over things in my own mind of remembering different speeches, different mannerisms, and along those lines. And now I can look at him in a different way. So,
Yeah, one of my specialties is ruining shit for people, so you're welcome.
yeah, thanks.
But thank you so much for joining us this evening. I always appreciate it. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right. And alibis, I know you didn't get much of a chance to speak this evening, but we are getting down to the wire. So any final thoughts?
That's cool. No, I felt a release being able to share this with someone because it's a very difficult thing to talk to people about. You know what I mean? You don't want to be too harsh on your own side, but that's what liberals do.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
unlike Hakeem Jeffries, I'm an excellent communicator. So
Yeah. All good. I appreciate it.
yeah,
You
man.
have a
Well, thank
good
you so
night.
much for coming by. I appreciate it, man. We'll hope to see
All
you
right.
soon. I'm here Monday through Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Have a
I'll
good night.
follow you. All right.
OG nerd, final thoughts.
I call myself OG, but the original OG is Barack Obama. He had swag.
Still
He
does.
owned that position. Oh, still does, still does. But he owned that office,
Yeah.
and Hakeem Jeffries is a cheap fake.
Yeah, I think, after we had to endure a buffoon for 8 years in Bush the Dumber, um, Barack Obama was this perfect storm of brilliant, funny, extraordinary communicator, dignified, because when
Authentic.
you're the first black anything, you have to be 10 times better than any counterpart. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was a real high bar. Because think about it. Think about who ran against him. Elmer Fudd and Caribou Barbie. And it was kind of close for a while, And it was so obvious to me. I was like, that guy? I mean, look, John McCain deserved every accolade he ever got because of his service to America. However, as a politician, he wasn't that great. And so like when I saw that this was, and then when he chose Sarah Palin, I was like, well, that's the end of that.
Sarah
But
Palin was.
it didn't change the fact that Barack Obama still had to be 10 times better, and he never took his foot off the gas while he was campaigning. And then for the whole 8 years, there was never a moment where, and look, I have to bifurcate between the man and his position. As president, he definitely disappointed me in a couple of areas. The main area was the drone program. I found that horrifying, right? But as a man, as a leader, as a communicator, I thought and still think he's extraordinary.
Exactly. And Traffic Cop, watch Sopranos.
I have a
Okay,
feeling he
I will
will.
do that.
I have a feeling he will.
I will do that.
All right, OG nerd. Always a pleasure
Have a
to
good
see
one.
you. Have a great night.
All right. Bye-bye.
AC. Oops. Why didn't that drop? Here we go. Let's try that again. Disconnect. That worked. AC, final thoughts, my friends. So, first of all, so good to see you back roaming the TikTok streets. We missed you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I haven't been on the prowl for a good long while. I'd hop into some lives here and there, but yeah, no, I'm coming back, and we're gonna do another live this week, either tomorrow or Friday. But yeah, we went through some documents today that Tulsi Gabbard said that were damning evidence that Barack Obama committed treason. And from the first 3 pages, we debunked that. So it's clear that this tirade that Donald Trump is putting on, this charade to try to divert his dumbass followers away from the Epstein files is not going to work. If even one of them reads the first 5 pages of that, it's a turning tide. We will never let Trump live this down until he gives us the list.
Yeah.
So,
when you're drilling for oil, sometimes you got to go real deep. When you want to debunk Trump, it's a millimeter thin. You just have to scratch beneath the surface and it all falls apart.
Yep, and it just bursts. Yep, absolutely. So, Yoda, I am so glad that I made it on your panel today. Like always, man, you were very well spoken, well thought out, and it's a treat to hear you converse with others. So I
Thank
do
you, man.
appreciate your time and your effort that you put in with your lives. And anybody that's in this room that isn't following Yoda needs to follow him before he ends this live, because he will do it without asking you. Okay?
And let me tell you, AC's lives are excellent. Talk about a dude that is committed, that is informed, that has every single receipt. The man does not speak of fact unless he can prove it, and that is refreshing on TikTok. Plus, he's got a heart of gold. So come on, you can't go wrong. Follow AC and check out his lives. All right, brother.
Thank
I'll
you,
talk
brother,
to you
man.
soon,
I
man.
appreciate you. All right, love you.
Traffic man. Final thoughts,
Oof.
sir.
So I don't even know how to follow AC. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, you just tap on his profile somewhere. Find he's either on the list of guests or you scroll down the comments. You'll find him. You'll
There you
get
go.
him.
No,
He's on
And
my
what I
list
what
anyway.
I no, what I meant was like basically everything he said. I
Oh,
don't
you
even
mean
know
how
how
do you
to.
speak right after him? Meaning,
Yes,
look at me
yes,
taking
absolutely.
you
AC is
literally versus
fantastic.
take. Yeah.
Yes,
Anyway,
exactly, correct.
gotcha.
So my closing thoughts would be that the Democratic Party has to find their voice. We have to find our position. You know, the different um, ideas that everything come. You know that there's so many different ideas that the Democratic Party brings together. We need to come to some certain some basic idea. We need to start messaging. We need to do better. And I unfortunately, I hate to say this, but like until we come together as a party, I don't think that we're going to be successful moving in the future. You know,
Yep.
yeah. So, but aside from that, Godfather 2, we'll be watching it this Saturday.
Excellent.
So we'll go from there. So good night, sir.
All
Always
right.
love the lives.
Thank you, man. Have a great night. Thanks for coming by as
You too.
always. Danny, final thoughts, my friend.
Well, it was another good live, my friend. I'm sorry I was late, but I had to support my grandson. I'm also the tapper in chief for KTA, as y'all
Yeah,
know. So
of course.
I stuck around as long as I could, and then I donated to a friend of mine that needed some help on air conditioning unit. So I donated Jimmers. So, but anyway, it was a great live. I'm glad that we are doing this together, both of us. You know, mine and yours, and I think that we're going to be doing it for many more years to come, Lord willing.
I hope so. I hope so. And folks, can't say it enough, can't stress it enough. Anyone in here who is not following Danny, you are missing out for real. I don't like to play the FOMO card, but this is for real. Okay? His lives are amazing. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a variety of things that go on during the week. And then Danny's going to describe what he's going to be doing on the weekends soon. So we've got Monday and Wednesday topical, but not in the way that it's talked about elsewhere on TikTok. It's not a bunch of people debating MAGA hats and all that other shit. Hello, Isa. It's about how do we bring about positive change. And there's not always easy answers. It's not always easy conversations, but they're real and they're meaningful and they're useful and they're productive. Okay. And then on Friday nights, we have Trivial Pursuit. Best time you're going to have on TikTok. I don't see anywhere else on TikTok anything like this happening. We get together, we try to answer questions, we stumble around, we get stuff wrong constantly, we crack ourselves up. It's amazing. It's amazing. So please follow this man. And Danny, let people know what you're doing for veterans starting this Sunday.
Well, actually, starting on the
Next
first
Sunday, the first
Sunday
Sunday
in August.
in August.
Yeah, first and third Sundays of August, I'm going to be starting a called Vet Talk. Veterans is helping veterans. As everybody should know, I'm a retired Army. I've spent 22 years. I'm a Vietnam vet. And even when I got out of the Army, there wasn't a lot of information out there for veterans, what resources, where to go. And I know it's gotten better since I got out, but that was many, many years ago. So anyway, it's Veterans Helping Veterans. It's called Vet Talk. It's the first and third Sunday of the month in August, 12 noon. So please be there or be square.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, man. Hopefully we will wake up tomorrow for another day and get to do this stuff all over again. So Danny, always a pleasure, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good night, Yoda.
You too. All right, folks. I don't have any ideas to close out with. Except to say this was a wonderful live. And what's really great is that I didn't introduce any of the topics that I had planned to talk about. And I'm fine with that. I had an agenda, and from my first guest, the agenda changed and we never looked back. And then we just kept going down the rabbit hole, and it all culminated and unfolded the way that we saw. And this is what I love about my panel and the people that are just joining us new for the first time. It's just amazing. Interesting people with great perspectives, able to communicate in intelligent ways. I just don't know what's better on TikTok. There's a lot of bullshit on TikTok, and that's okay. Frivolous entertainment is fine, and I enjoy some frivolous entertainment from time to time. But when I come up on these lives, I use it as a form of therapy. I get to express what is in my heart and in my mind, and either it's a frustration or a joy or everything in between. And you folks indulge that and encourage that, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm here Mondays through Saturdays for the time being. For now, this is the schedule. Monday through Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Usually for 5 days a week, we talk about all sorts of stuff, things that are topical, things that are not topical, whatever's on our minds. I try to stay vigilant so that, we are talking about important things, but there's a lot of important things, right? And then on Saturday is a chill day, usually reserved for no politics, but if it comes up, it does. So whatever. That's my very unorganized approach to doing TikTok lives. But for now, folks, thank you all for being here, for tapping, for gifting, for sharing the live, for making comments. You are all superstars. I appreciate you more than I could possibly explain. And with any luck, we'll be back here tomorrow night. So until then, peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.